Hello? All right, dancing music is off. It's time for real stuff. I just want to thank you. My name's Leslie Swan. I run the Anaheim Hills Buzz. I started it 9 years ago, and a few people, I'm sure, in this room are on it. We just want to thank you. I got involved a lot with the city because I got very interested in all of the things that are going on in our community, and then it took me to the next level of getting involved more in our city. And I just want to say thank you for coming tonight, because your presence basically shares how much you're passionate about what happens in the footprint that we're going to leave our city in the future. I just wanted to also remember that a year ago tomorrow, I'm sure none of us are going to forget how devastating it was to our community and how important it was that we came together as a community and we really took a passion to each other, and we worked through a lot of things that were pretty bad. And we're tonight putting a forum on, and as a community, we have the opportunity to use our diplomatic voting ability to bring in 3 candidates that have given hours and hours and hours of volunteering and doing community service, and they care. And we want to recognize them and appreciate the fact that they're taking their time to put a lot of hours in. 4 years in this position is really, really tough. And I appreciate you all for taking the time, because I can't even imagine that that is going to be a lot. So with that said, I just wanted to thank you again. And we have a great night tonight. This is your opportunity to hear their platform and get a good feel of who they are, and they're our voice. So for the next 4 years, whoever we elect are going to be the people that are going to be representing us. And I'll tell you this, if you don't have to be mayor, you don't have to be a council person to have yourself heard. Just get involved and be active and go to your council person who is elected and work with them. We're all going to work together as a team and get the things that we need in our city and in our area for District 6. With that said, I wanted to let you, we have a young lady who will be doing the flag salute. Her name is Shay Titmeyer, and she is with the Girl Scouts. And then I also would love to introduce Pastor Phil Hotsenpiller, who's going to be doing the prayer for this evening and also doing our moderation. That's the word I was looking for, because that's not going to be a fun job either. So thank you again.
Take your hats and hoods off. Place your right hand over your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we held at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched, we're so gallantly streaming, and the rockets red glare, the bombs bursting in
I'm so glad we didn't miss that. Thank you so much. Let's pray. Father, we thank you that we can be together. Thank you for these public servants who are willing to give of their time, their wisdom, their energy to this city. We just ask that tonight will be revealing, informational, and challenging to all. In your name, amen. You may be seated. The reason I never ran for office was because no one could pronounce my last name. Name like Hotsenpiller, it does something to people when they hear it. But I did learn how to spell it when I was in 3rd grade. Let me give you a couple of the rules for tonight, and I think this is going to be a good and revealing informational time for you. We've got some great questions in store for our candidates. Each candidate will be allowed a 3-minute self-introduction. Following the introductions, each candidate will receive 4 questions and will be allowed a 2-minute response time. The 5th question will encompass a speed round where candidates will answer with a simple support, oppose, or undecided. The questions have been submitted by community members and have come from prior Anaheim Hill Town Hall, social media, and other forums. If you have additional questions for the candidates, we ask that you wait till after the conclusion of the forum. The candidates will be available to stay around and speak to you one-on-one. We ask that during the time, the audience remain seated in the forum and refrain from clapping, taking photos, or videos, as this may be disturbing to the candidates. The Anaheim Hills Community Council will be videotaping the forum and will post on YouTube for those who could not attend or if you want to review the questions. Please note the candidates will be called in the order that they appear on the ballot. We will then proceed to alternate the order for each question. For example, question 1 will be answered in this order, candidate 1, 2, and 3. Question 2 will be answered in 2, 3, and 1, and so on. We want to be respectful of your time tonight, so we have a couple of timekeepers at the front. If our timekeepers could show your cards to the candidates so they'll know where you are. This is always the funnest part of the night because we found that candidates typically have a lot to say, and we want to hear from them in about 2 minutes, all right? So the timekeepers will be there. The first card they'll hold up will be green. Then there will be a yellow card, which means that you have about 20 seconds left, and then the red card will be lifted to indicate that it's time to stop. If you keep going, don't think I'm rude if I stop you, all right? But I'll try to be kind. Similarly, this will be happen during the 3-minute introduction. So on our District 6 candidates' self-introductions, you have 3 minutes each. Grant, we'd like to start with you.
Well, thank you very much, Pastor Fell. I'm Grant Henninger. I am running to be your representative on City Council, but I guess you knew that because that's why you're all here tonight. I want to thank you all for coming out. It means a lot as a community to have so many active members of our community trying to find out who will best represent them at City Council. I also especially want to thank my family that's here and especially point out my son and daughter, Caleb and Evelyn. They are why I am running. I am running because I've grown up here in Anaheim. I went to Crescent and to El Rancho and to Canyon, and it was a great community to grow up in. And it has been a great community to raise my family in so far. I want to ensure that it continues to be a great place to raise kids and for kids to grow up. I want to make sure that it's a great place for my kids to grow up and for hopefully them to raise their families here. You know, they're 7 and 4, so that's in 20 or 30 years. But to ensure that our community is the great place it has been 20 and 30 years from now, we need to make good decisions today, which is why I'm running now. I have spent the past decade preparing myself really for this position. I know most people running for office say, oh, this is something that I'm motivated to do recently. That's really not the case for me. I have spent the past decade on the Anaheim Community Services Board, which helps nonprofits, and I see some of my fellow board members here tonight. I spent a couple years on the Anaheim Planning Commission, and these different positions really helped me learn how to work in that sort of committee environment. So when you are trying to decide between 7 people how to move the city forward in the direction that will help all of our neighborhoods. That's a particular skill that you don't really get anywhere else other than by doing it. And so I've spent a decade learning how to do that. On the professional side of my life, I have worked as a real estate developer and as an urban planner. I'm a small business owner. And these have also given me a certain set of skills. And I know some of us share these skills because we have some similar background there as business owners. But I have been, one of the biggest issues that we're facing today in Anaheim is our homeless crisis. I spent the first 5 years of my career working for a nonprofit affordable housing organization, building affordable housing for low-income and homeless individuals. And that has given me a set of skills to be able to solve the problems that we face today. And finally, through that time, I have learned how to, I've built a good network of people in City Hall and in the community to be able to work with all sides of the issues facing us today. So
thank you,
my
Grant.
time is up.
Thank
you
you
very much.
Trevor.
Thank you, Pastor Phil, and thank you everyone for coming out tonight. We appreciate your civic engagement. My name is Trevor O'Neill, and my wife and I settled in Anaheim Hills 23 years ago. It's where we decided to move and raise our family. We have 2 sons that have graduated from Canyon High School, and they're now in college. I am a business owner. I employ approximately 75 people in healthcare, and it was through my business that I really became active and engaged in politics and the legislative process. So throughout the last dozen or so years, I've served in leadership capacities on a number of different boards. I served on the board of directors of my state and my national trade associations in healthcare. I'm the former board chair of the Orange Chamber of Commerce, where my business is located. I'm a current board member of the Orange County Taxpayers Association, fighting to protect Prop 13. I am the vice chairman of the Orange Unified School District Measure S Bond Oversight Committee, a board member of the Anaheim Hills Community Council, and a former Anaheim commissioner for the Community Center Authority, essentially the convention center. So my priorities for Anaheim Hills first is to strengthen public safety, and this is an increasingly difficult job for our police when we have the state implementing its soft-on-crime policies. Prison realignment, AB 109, Prop 47, Prop 57, the early release and reduced sentencing. We've got more criminals on our streets, and we need to make sure that our local police force has the tools and the resources that they need to help keep crime down and keep our neighborhoods safe. We also have the ever-present threat of wildfires here in Anaheim Hills, as we all well know, in last year's fire where we lost 15 homes and burned over 9,200 acres. And we have yet to restore our fire department staffing levels to their pre-recession levels. I want to make sure that we can restore their budget and get more firefighters on scene so we can keep our community safe in future wildfires. I'll work tirelessly to maintain and improve our roads and our parks and our infrastructure. You know, we're a built-out community of 30, 40 years, and we have aging infrastructure that's going to need attention. Our parks are beautiful, but they need to be maintained, and we need to make sure that we have an advocate at City Hall that ensures that Anaheim Hills gets its share of the budget revenue. And I'll promote a business-friendly economy. I'm a business owner myself, and so I know what it takes to create jobs, grow the economy, and fight government red tape. And we need more of that in Anaheim, because ultimately it is the business community that funds everything in our general fund to provide public safety and all of the city services that we enjoy. And I'll work for fiscal responsibility as well, keeping our taxes low, making sure that our government runs efficiently, and engaging in smart public-private partnerships that in the end will bring in new net revenue that will then go to supplement all of our city services.
Thank you, Trevor.
Thank you very much.
We've got to move on to Patty.
Yes, I would like to also add the fact that I appreciate that you all are here tonight. Wasn't sure how many would be able to come. Didn't know how many people knew about this. My husband and I also have lived here in Anaheim Hills for 32 years. I just recently retired as a teacher after 36 years, and I was asked to run by the mayor because he's known me for 30 years and knows that I've been very involved in Anaheim Hills. We have 2 children. Our daughter Allison lives here in Anaheim Hills with our grandson, so I have much invested here in Anaheim Hills. I'm running to serve the people of District 6. I'm running because Anaheim, and specifically District 6, sorry, I'm over age 40, so I need my glasses, needs a council member who will serve the people instead of special interest. I'm running to set priorities and make decisions that will be best interests of the people who live in the neighborhoods of Anaheim Hills. As some of you might know, my father was an FBI agent who spent much of his career going after organized crime. I believe our number one priority should be to keep Anaheim residents safe. If the people of Anaheim aren't safe or don't feel safe in our community, then little else in the city government matters. Public safety also means exceptional fire protection. We owe a great debt of gratitude to our fire department for keeping the Canyon 2 fire limited to what it was. However, I believe our city needs to be better prepared in case of evacuation. If elected, I will begin working on a comprehensive evacuation plan from day one. My next priority is to invest in our city's infrastructure. Our roads and parks are aging, and I will work to ensure the scheduled maintenance doesn't slip. I currently serve as a City of Anaheim Parks Commissioner and previously served on the board of Canyon Hills Soccer Association. And I know firsthand what it takes to maintain our parks and public spaces to the highest standards. Making public safety and civic upkeep my top priority means the city needs to spend its precious funds in those areas. That's why I've constantly opposed and will stand up against cronyism and corporate giveaways. My position is in stark contrast to my opponents. Both of my opponents supported the giveaways, the $700 million in general fund subsidies to the luxury hoteliers. They both also supported the contract that gave single company Walt Disney Corporation a 45-year exemption from the tax on the admission tickets or parking. Public safety and civic upkeep cannot be a top priority when you give special interest our money. It's about choices. It's about knowing who you represent. I am proud to be endorsed by fiscal conservative Mayor Tom Tate, our state senator John Morlock, and the Howard Jarvis Taxpayer Association.
Thank you very much. All right, now we go into the questions. The first one is going to revolve around public safety. Specifically, it has a lot to do with police response times as well. At Anaheim Hills town halls, social media, and other public forums, Anaheim Hill residents have spoken out about the increase in burglary, homelessness, impacting our neighborhoods, and the longer wait time for calls for service. As a member of City Council, what steps will you take to address these critical public safety issues? And we'll begin with you, Patty.
Awesome, thank you. I have great compassion for the people that are down on their luck and they're homeless, but as a council member, I need to balance between the homeless and our needs as a resident, our residents, excuse me. Our mayor has already been working with the Salvation Army in securing a place down on Lewis Street to build 200 beds for our homeless. With it being with the Salvation Army, that gives wraparound services to these people, will help with assessing them, what kind of needs do they have. And then this, which is super important, is that the police now can enforce the policies that we already have in place to be able to take the homeless out of our parks, off the streets, off the benches, and put them into a safe place. I feel that if they're out of the parks and out of our streets and into the shelters, that will help with any of the crime that we are seeing as well. So thank you.
Thank you. And Grant, you'll be able to go next.
So as I've been canvassing, I've been hearing quite a bit about especially homelessness and the increase in burglaries we've seen in our neighborhoods. And I think it is definitely something we need to address, and it should be one of the highest priorities of our city. they have very different very different roots, and we need to address them in different ways. The burglaries, we see a lot of people coming in from out of town. We see the neighborhoods on the borders of our community or near the 91 on-ramps getting hit the hardest because it's so easy to come into the neighborhoods quickly and get out quickly before the police have a chance to respond. So we need to be working throughout the region to identify the people who are committing these crimes and then arresting them and having them go through the criminal justice system. Right now, a lot of us will have ring doorbells or Nest cameras on our houses. We have video of the people breaking into our cars and our houses, but the police can't do anything about it. They don't know who the people are. We need to be working with other departments in our neighboring cities and throughout the region to identify these people, bring them to justice. Homelessness, I largely agree with Patty that we need to provide more shelter beds, more services to get the people who want to get off the street. And then, once we have enough beds to house everybody, we can, as she said, enforce the laws that we have, the anti-camping laws in our community, in our parks, in our neighborhoods, in our shopping centers. And we can get the people who want help, and get the people who don't want help out of our communities. So thank you.
Thank you. And Trevor, would you respond?
Thank you, Pastor Phil. Quite simply, we need more cops on the streets. There's no question that there's been an uptick in low-level crimes, break-ins to your car and burglarizing in your homes, stealing packages off people's porches. And you heard me earlier cite the state and its soft-on-crime policies, and it's driving these people back onto the streets and back into our neighborhoods. And if we do not foster an environment that deters crime, it's not going to go away. And the best way to do that is increase our police presence to make sure that Anaheim Hills is no longer a target for these criminals and these thieves. Bringing it to the homeless situation, absolutely we need to be able to enforce our anti-camping ordinances and not create an environment that is hospitable for people who want to live the homeless lifestyle. And I'm committed to seeing that through.
Thank you very much. The next question revolves around wildfires, which, as was pointed out earlier, is a chief concern to all of us. Last year's wildfires consumed thousands of acres, hundreds of homes, and endangered lives. Subsequent investigation revealed that the fire was detected very early and could possibly have been extinguished before it spread. The threat of wildfires and fire response time still hang over Anaheim Hills. What would you do to better protect District 6 from the threat of wildfires? And we'll begin with you, Trevor.
Thank you. Just like to deter crime, we need more police officers. We need more firefighters. Our fire force has sustained budget cuts at the beginning of the recession, and we're still down several positions that have yet to be restored. Our police force has been restored to its pre-recession levels, but we need more firefighters. We need more people on the engines. We need more engines. Regarding the fire that happened, we all saw the story that the county did the investigation and found that the county messed up. The fire was reported, and they have a policy that somebody needs visual confirmation of the fire before they dispatch crews to the scene. So the county called a station in Yorba Linda who said, I don't see any smoke. And so then they did nothing until further reports came in. So we cannot have delays like that happening. The way that you solve that is by having more early warning systems here in Anaheim Hills. There are other parts of the Cleveland National Forest where on the Southern California Edison transmission towers, they've mounted cameras. And these are remote control. They can move around and pan in, and people monitor them, and they act as an early warning system for forest fires. There's no reason why we should not have those kind of technologies installed along our perimeter here in Anaheim Hills as well, because we know the fires are coming. We know the way that the winds blow. We need to know about it as soon as absolutely possible.
Very good. Thank you. And by the way, thank you. You guys are doing great on your time. Answers are succinct and clear, and I really appreciate it, and I know everyone else does too. Patty, would you address the question?
Yes. As I stated in my opening statement, this is a top priority. Though we did not lose a life in our Canyon 2 fires, we were lucky for that. And this area it's important for us to work on our evacuation program. I would work with the fire department, the schools, and Caltrans to do a better job coordinating the evacuation. I would make sure that our freeways, both, are open for our residents to leave. They were closed, which just kept backing everybody up. I know that my neighbor spent almost 4 hours trying to get his child out from Crescent Elementary School. That is unacceptable. So I would work having more people out there helping us with the traffic, instead of just having 2 lanes going down our major hills, let's open the 4 lanes. Nobody's going towards the fire. Let's get us all off the hill and get into a safe place. Fire doesn't wait for any of us. That'd be number one for me, to work with the fire department. And I agree with Trevor. We need more fire engines. I'm talking with the fire department. They want more people. But the way we get that is to protect our general fund. We can't give away our money to the hoteliers and say, I want more police and fire. We need to keep the money in the general fund so we have money for that. Thank you.
All right, and I guess you know who's next.
All right. I like being
Grant,
last.
please.
I can respond to people this way. So we have, as Trevor mentioned, we have a few fewer firefighters than we did prior to the recession. In fact, we have 21 fewer firefighters than we did prior to the recession. That is an entire engine company. That, in order to do that, we have engines that go out with 3 firefighters instead of 4, and that makes our fire department a lot less efficient. So a fire engine will have the driver, they have an engineer, and they have 2 firefighters. You take one of those firefighters away, then they only have, that's a 50% reduction in manpower, even though we're only going from 4 to 3. So Trevor's absolutely right. We need more firefighters. In fact, we have fewer firefighters today than we did in 1982 when I was evacuated for the first time in the Gypsum Canyon fire. I've been evacuated 3 times. This last fire came within about 1,000 feet from my house. I have a very real appreciation for the threat that we are under from fires. And one of the things after the Freeway Complex fire about 10 years ago, one of the things I did was I started volunteering with the fire department with their RACES program. The fire department, on red flag fire days, on Santa Ana wind days, they have volunteers go out and be up in the hills to look for smoke. So exactly what happened last year shouldn't have happened if we had had more volunteers out there. So one of the things I want to do is I want to encourage more people to volunteer. We all care about our houses. None of us want to see our houses burned down. So let's do something about it and help out the fire department when they need that help. So that's what I have done. That's what I'm going to encourage our residents to do in order to avoid a repeat of what happened last year. And then we need to or re-woman. You can have female firefighters too. So re-personnel our fire department. So thank you.
Thank you, Grant. That was good. And good catch on that. All right. Measure 11, and this is Anaheim Living Wage Incentive or Initiative. Do you agree or disagree with the proponents of Measure 11, the Anaheim Living Wage Initiative, that Anaheim resort businesses which have an economic assistance agreement with the city should have to pay a higher minimum wage than other businesses in Anaheim throughout the region? And we'll start with you, Grant.
So I think that's Measure L.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Did I say something different than
you
that?
said 11. Sorry.
That's not a good measure. We're not even going to talk about that one tonight.
So Measure L, I do not support. I think that Measure L is wrong-headed in a number of ways. I think that it is not enforceable, and I think it'll be challenged in courts, and we're going to spend millions of dollars defending it. Us as taxpayers, just like we have defended the lawsuit against the Angels about their name. We spent, $4 million or something on that lawsuit of our taxpayer money for what? And I feel Measure L is the same way, that we're going to spend money for something that I think will end up failing. And there are better ways to go about ensuring that the workers in Anaheim are getting a fair shake. And I think as we've seen over the past few weeks, the unions that represent those workers have negotiated with Disney exactly the way it's supposed to work, that you have workers being represented by a union negotiating with their employer, the voters should not be involved in that process. And so I think Measure L is wrong-headed. I think it'll cost us money, and I think it will not be defensible at the end of the day.
Very good, thank you. And Trevor?
I oppose Measure L, and it's embarrassing to think that Anaheim may have the plaintive distinction of having the highest minimum wage in the nation. That is not being a business-friendly city. This is a job killer, and it needs to be stated that this initiative does not apply to Disney. Disney canceled its rebate agreements with the city, and so this affects only a handful of employees of a couple of hotels that are yet to be built. So you will see a lot of press that, oh, this is about Disney workers getting a fair shake. No, this was about union workers trying to bargain at the ballot box rather than doing so in good faith with their employer. I oppose it.
Okay, thank you. Patty?
I say leave it up to the voters. The only people that are on the hook for this $18 are the hoteliers that got the big, giant subsidies. These multi-million-dollar companies that were given the subsidies. So it's not for the small companies, it's not for every company, it's only for the, as he said, the hoteliers that got the subsidies. Disneyland did not take the subsidy, and you question why, did they want to avoid this? And again, if we didn't give the subsidies, and I hate to keep coming to that, but that's where it is, then they wouldn't be on the hook for that. So I say let the voters decide that. And also, there was something about them taking away their tips. I think they should be able to keep their tips. Thank you.
All right, thank you. The next question revolves around the city budget, and specifically the transient occupancy tax, which generates about 39% of the general fund revenue. It's the only source of city revenue that is actually growing really strongly, nearly doubling during the last 6 years from $82.6 million to $150.3 million. In May of this year, the city's finance director informed the city council that city revenues are barely able to keep the pace with PERS, that is the public pension reform increases. She also said that Disney planned a 4-diamond and the second Wincombe Group and Garden Walk Diamond hotels were not built. The city would have to make up the spending adjustments. Disney has put its luxury hotel on hold, and the other 2 luxury hotels are in doubt. The next city council will have to deal with the negative impacts of stalled hotel development on the city budget. To which city services will you give funding priority if and when the budget cut becomes necessary? And Patty, we will begin with you.
All right. Well, first of all, I don't believe that the hotels would not be built. I believe Disney would build their own hotel. It's a $44 billion company. They don't need our subsidy to build their hotel. Who benefits for people to come to their hotel? Disney does. We've had about 15 hotels built in the last 8 years without subsidies. So I believe that they will still build the hotels. People come to California, come to Anaheim to go to Disneyland, not necessarily go to their hotels. So we get the full TOT from those hoteliers. If we give away the subsidies, then 70%, so for every dollar, they give the full TOT to the general fund. The general fund turns around, gives 70 cents to the dollar back to those hoteliers for 30 years. So we need to make sure that we don't subsidize these hotels, so we get the full TOT, and that will help with our general fund money. Thank you.
Okay. And we'll go to Grant next.
Thank you, Pastor Phil. So all of these hotel deals I look at on a deal-by-deal basis. I think some will be good for the city's general fund, such as the Disney Hotel. There was no hotel there before. They're going to build a hotel, and we'll get 30% of the revenue we would get if we didn't have this deal. But if we didn't have the deal, we would more likely get no hotel. Disney has had the approvals to build this hotel for the past 20 years, but they haven't. And so we have incentivized them to do it now. So we will get revenue from that, where we wouldn't be getting revenue otherwise. That will increase our budget. However, some of the deals, like the Wincome deals, they're tearing down existing hotels, where we're getting 100% of the tax revenue. So they tear down the Annabella Hotel, which they've now done. We were getting revenue before. We're not getting revenue now. And now we're going to give up 70% of the revenue that we receive from the new hotel. That will leave a hole in our budget. So we have two sides, and both are half right. Some of these deals are good for our budget. Some are bad. We need somebody who can look at each of these on a deal-by-deal basis and make a good decision. And so I believe that we need to continue some of these deals. We need to not do the ones that will hurt our budget. And if we can do that, if we can have people that can be constructive at City Council, I think we can get these hotel back on track, get them built, and ensure that we don't have this shortfall in our budget where we need to make cuts.
Thank you. Trevor.
Thank you. I'm glad to have the opportunity to address the transient occupancy tax and the hotel rebates. To characterize these rebate agreements as taxpayer giveaways is just patently false. There is no taxpayer money to give away if the person does not build the hotel. And if they do build a hotel, the incentive agreement is we will share some of the new incoming tax revenue with you. So that incentivizes that growth and that development. Anaheim has been trying to attract four-diamond hotel development for a long time. We just finished the expansion of the convention center where we can bring in bigger conferences, and tourism is up, but we lack the luxury lodging. And families and individuals that come to Orange County end up staying in the coastal cities at the Ritz and St. Regis and all of those kind of places. We're missing out on that TOT revenue. Where we had the situation where the Annabella was knocked down and now the new Wyndham Hotel is going to be built, even when we have a rebate period of a percentage of the tax money going back to the developer, the city share is still more than it would otherwise be if they continued to operate at a three-diamond hotel or a three-star hotel. It makes good business sense. This is a public-private partnership that generates money that was never there before, that then ends up going to subsidize vital city services, our police and our fire, and that's what keeps our taxes low. So I support smart public-private partnerships that bring in new net revenue to the city. What would I cut? If we have to deal with budget shortfalls? You know, Disney canceled this agreement, and we now have a $6 million hole in the budget next year. Where are we going to come up with that? I don't want to make any cuts. I would rather engage in revitalizing the economy and promoting a more business-friendly environment to encourage more growth and development, to increase that tax base. Tourists comes to town, and we're receiving the benefit of their tax money to keep our taxes low.
Thank you so much for that. All right, now we go to our speed round of 6 questions. You won't need a lot of time on this because you get to answer in one of 3 ways: support, oppose, or undecided. And if you drag that into 2 minutes, it'll surprise me. All right, so let's jump into this right away. The OC Needle Exchange Program provides free hypodermic syringes to drug users in hopes of reducing incidences of HIV, hepatitis C. Last year, the OC Needle Exchange was kicked out of Santa Ana because the city said strayed and the discarded syringes posed health threats to the public. Now the OC Needle Exchange has been approved by the state to start a mobile exchange program in Anaheim, Orange, Costa Mesa, Santa Ana. What is your position on allowing the OC Needle program to operate in Anaheim? Do you support it, oppose it, or undecided? We'll start with Trevor, then Patty, and then Grant. Trevor?
Oppose.
Oppose strongly.
Oppose. No differences between us, apparently.
That's good. All right. The second question is, in November, Anaheim voters will vote on Measure L, not to be confused with Measure 11 from the lame moderator. All right. A union-supported ballot initiative that would force Anaheim resort businesses, which have economic assistance agreements with the city, to increase their minimum hourly wage to $15 in January 2019, escalating to $18,000, or $18, pardon me, $18,000 an hour. I want that job. Right? Anybody not want it? Which 18 would be the highest in the country by January 2019. Do you support or oppose or undecided? And we will start with Trevor, and then Patty, and then Grant.
Oppose Measure L.
Undecided.
Oppose.
All right. Next question. Proposition 13's property tax protections and limits apply to the residential and commercial property. In 2020, there will be an initiative on the ballot to end those protections for commercial property, leading to higher taxes on commercial property. Do you support, oppose, or undecided on ending Prop 13 protections for commercial property? We'll begin with you, Trevor, and then Patty, and then Grant.
I oppose ending Prop 13's protections on commercial properties.
I oppose as well.
It hasn't been written yet. You're asking me to weigh in on something.
Is that an answer?
That is an undecided, because
Thank
we
you
don't
very
know what it
much.
looks like.
Okay. I know you want to talk. It's just so tempting, isn't it? I know. Yeah, well, the questions are here, and we'll just keep moving with a couple more, and then you can address individuals as you see fit afterwards. The Anaheim City Council last year cut city funding for the annual 4th of July fireworks celebration in Peralta Park. As a council member for District 6, would you support, oppose, or undecided restoring city funding for this popular Independence Day community tradition? And we will begin with Trevor, and then Patty, and then Grant.
I would support that.
That is such a loaded question. Sorry. I would have to have more research on that. So I would have to be undecided.
So you're undecided? Okay.
I would support it.
Okay. Next one. Councilman Jose Moreno has proposed a citywide ticket tax primarily targeting Disneyland Resort, the Honda Center, the Anaheim Stadium. What is your position on such a ticket tax? Support, oppose, or undecided? We will start with Trevor.
How can we keep doing that?
Because
go
the
first if you
the
want.
speed round are all in the same order.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we don't. It just gets too confusing because we're moving too quick.
Sorry, we're slowing down the speed round here. I oppose the ticket tax or the gate tax.
Yeah, I'm opposed to taxes.
I oppose the gate tax.
Okay, very good. This is your last one. Proposition 10 on this year's ballot would repeal Costa. Okay. Would it repeal the Costa-Hawkins Act, which prevents local governments from adopting rent control ordinances if they choose to do so? If Prop 10 passes, local governments will be able to enact ordinances to control rents. Do you support, oppose, or undecided on this? And again, same order. Trevor?
I oppose rent control.
I oppose rent control.
I oppose rent control.
All right, thank you very much. We would like to have give you 1 minute in the order of the ballot to just draw some conclusions, anything you want to say. And so we will begin here with Grant, and then Trevor, and then Patty.
Well, thank you again, everybody, for your time tonight. I hope you learned something about the differences between the three of us and who you might want to support. I believe that I'm the most qualified for this job. I'm the most experienced. I've lived here the longest, and I'm the most independent of the three of us. I'm not being supported by outside interest groups, by Disney and by developers. I'm not being supported by any of the existing factions on the city council. I am independent. I want to see what is best for our community. I want to grow our neighborhoods, strengthen our neighborhoods, and ensure that this is a great place for our families and for our kids to grow up, and for us a place to retire. And so that's why I think you should support me, and I'm right at the top of the ballot. So you don't have to go past the first person. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Trevor.
I wasn't recruited to run by anyone for this seat. I'm stepping up because I want to put my leadership skills to work for the benefit of my community. My policies and my positions are my own and not the extension of anyone else. My candidacy has been endorsed by prominent elected officials who represent Anaheim Hills, including Anaheim Councilmember Chris Murray, Congresswoman Mimi Walters, State Assemblyman Stephen Choi, and OUSD Board Trustee Andrea Yamasaki. Additional Anaheim endorsements I've earned include Anaheim Councilmember Lucille Kring, Anaheim Councilmember Steve Fessel, former Anaheim Councilmember Gail Eastman, and former Anaheim Mayor Kurt Pringle. Additionally, I've been endorsed by organizations that include the Anaheim Police Association, the Orange County Taxpayers Association, the Orange County Business Council, the Anaheim Chamber of Commerce, and I as well have been endorsed by the Howard Jarvis Taxpayers Association. I love Anaheim Hills. We have an unparalleled quality of life here, and I want to make sure that my kids can enjoy an even better quality of life that we have now. And as a member of the Anaheim City Council, I'll bring thoughtful leadership, pro-growth economic policies, and a common-sense business acumen so often missing in public office today.
Thank you so much. You know, I noticed that everyone, when they see the red card, they go from 120 words a minute to 180. We love it. All right. And please, Patty.
All right, and I too want to thank you for being out here tonight. I am not a politician. I just retired as a teacher after 36 years. I drove for 32 years from Anaheim to La Habra, passing Yorba Linda, Placentia, Brea. I had many choices of places to live, and I still chose to live in Anaheim Hills. My daughter gave her future husband a choice. We can live in Anaheim Hills, or Anaheim Hills. She loves it here, and we're raising our grandchild here as well. So I have much desire for us to do well here in Anaheim Hills. And I want to be your council person. I, too, am not supported by any special interest groups. We can't all say that up here. And I want to work for you. So please remember, I guess he said number 1, I'm number 3. So vote for me, number 3. All right. I was a cheerleader, so remember that.
All right. Thank you so much. And I know that I speak for everyone here. Just a deep sense of appreciation for your willingness to serve, for your answers, for your thoughtfulness. And I like all 3 of you. And I just appreciate you being here. And I just want to encourage you, if you have a question, to stay around. Our candidates will be here for a few minutes and would love to be able to meet you and interact with you. And I thank you for being here. I also have a note here. I hope I get this right. I want to thank, is it Oren? Is that correct? For hosting this event? Am I correct in that name? Yeah. Where is Oren? Right back there. Everybody turn around and look at him. Go give him a $10 bill after this. He's broke now, but anyway, I'm just kidding. God bless every one of you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for being a part of this community, for caring the way you care and doing what you do. Have a great night, a great week.